So my name is Nate Smith. I am a first-year graduate student at IU School of Medicine, and I am actually in the MD-PhD program. I just finished my second year of medical school, and I'm now moving into the research phase of my training to become a physician scientist.
So tell us a little bit about your religious background or your upbringing. How were you raised?
So I was raised in a religious household. I have come here to the Church of the Nativity my entire life. It goes back, my mom has always come here, and my grandmother was one of the founding members of this church. So there's a lot of family history rooted in this church, and it's something that I've held really close and dear to my heart. As I continue to come here, it's a family tradition. This really is my family, my home away from home.
So you mentioned a little bit about your academic background. Can you just tell us a little bit more about that? What fields of study were you going into?
Well, I was in the Science Research Fellows program. I went to DePaul University. I studied physics and math, and so I got a double degree, double majored in those two subjects. And after that, I kind of had an epiphany in my third year that I wanted to do medicine and research as well. And so that's kind of where my path has taken me thus far.
So how do you reconcile faith with science? I'm sure in the academic setting you run across a lot of people who are atheists or feel that religion is outdated or past its usefulness. What compels you to be a person of faith today?
Well, I will be honest, I do run across a lot of people who are atheists and don't believe, but I mean, to a certain extent, I separate what I do in my research from what I do here in church. But I mean, my overall perspective is that I'm not yet convinced that everything in all creation can be created from just a big bang. I understand the theory of it. I understand why we think that's kind of what led to all of the universe the way it is. I know there's a lot of science behind that, but I mean, just to get things going in the first place. And I know it's not the exact biblical interpretation, but my understanding and my reconciliation is that the Big Bang had to start from somewhere. And obviously someone or something had to get it going in the first place. So the way I understand it is that God laid the path and the foundation for all of what we have around us, and He allowed it to happen through the course of the Big Bang, which then, through all the science that and our understanding, yields what we have today.
So do you see any conflict then between religion and science necessarily?
No, I think my understanding is just that I think God tends to be, He watches over us, He's here with us, but in general He's relatively hands-off, and He lets the universe play out as the universe plays out. And we have a great deal of understanding through science of the mechanics of how the universe was made to be. But I still feel like there is something greater out there, and honestly just submitting to that fact and not trying to have the hubris that we are the ultimate being, that there's something else out there that's greater than all of us. It's honestly comforting, and when you find community in that, it takes some of the pressure of living in this world off of me as an individual, and I can kind of give it away and feel peace in that.
Are there any critiques or criticisms that you've run across of religion, by people that you think are valid and that you want to clarify? That it seems to me that sometimes there's such a broad characterization that all people who believe X, Y, Z, and they pick something very unpopular and they try to paint with a broad brush. In that light, I mean, do you feel that there are critiques that are valid, that people have made? And what would you like to say in response to those objections?
I do have some critiques of Christianity. I think it has still yet to move into the 21st century, and there's a lot of updating that must be done just within the organization of the church. And I also, I think that there's a lot of people who are very strict when it comes to the Bible, but I don't necessarily see it that way. I see the Bible as more of a guide than an end-all be-all text. And so I think that understanding that there's variations in how to interpret the religious texts and what they mean, we're all human and we all see things from a different perspective. So I think understanding that, maybe we can get around some of these objections where, people are fighting over particular words in the Bible and what they mean, and, whether or not that means that gays can get married or that kind of stuff. There's a lot of, I think there's a lot more freedom in that text than a lot of people realize, and just saying that I'm a Christian doesn't necessarily mean right off the bat that I can't also be someone who's involved or caring about social justice.
So if there's anybody watching this video who's had a bad experience with church and feels like religion has no basis in reality and we should move on, in closing, what would you like to say to them?
I would just say that, it's kind of like, it's a relationship. When you walk into a church, you're walking into a whole community. And, just like a lot of people's high school relationships, if it doesn't work out the first time, it doesn't mean that it's always not going to work out. There are certainly communities out there that whatever your flaws or whatever you feel like your issues with the church are, they will be able to overlook that and they'll be able to make you part of that community so that you can find what I found here at Nativity.
All right, anything else you want to share in closing?
No, thanks for giving the opportunity
All right.
to talk.
Thank you so much, Nate.
All right.